यार ये उम्र ये तो अंदर चला जाएगा. चलो थैंक यू. यार कैप शेप नहीं बात सुन रहे हैं तो कैप शेप ऊपर लगाए उसका रंग वो
Wait a bit.
Okay, I'll give a small intro, and then I'll talk to you and put the first question as a basic premise on that, and then 2-3 more questions.
আজকে আমার সত্যি ভালো ছিল, আমি না রিডিং করতে পারি।
यार ये माइक लगा दो जरा, आइएगा. या प्लीज डू इट. ये बीच में आ रहा है फ्रेम के मेज.
Is it okay?
मेज फ्रेम में आ रहा है तो फिर वो परे रख देंगे जो है कहीं.
So maybe you can just leave it at the back.
हाँ बैक में रख दे. But it will.
Just leave it like that. Yeah. Yeah.
ये डाउन हो जाएगी. कहाँ से होगी? कर दें डाउन. वो आप कर दें.
Yeah. You have to do it.
नहीं you have नहीं होगी. You have to.
Understand? Sure.
अब ना कर दें. चले. So, हाँ जी. And you'll be talking to me, not to the camera. लाइव नहीं, मैं इंट्रो तो इस पे दूंगा ना.
नहीं सर, ये पर सारा लाइव जा रहा है.
मैं इंट्रो दे के तो फिर इनसे बात किस पे इंट्रो दूं? ये दोनों कैमरे काम नहीं कर रहे.
ये सर लाइव ये बात पे.
अच्छा चलो मैं इस पे देता हूँ. जब क्यों कहेंगे मैं शुरू हो जाऊंगा. लाइव के लिंक का मैं जिक्र करूं बीच में कि जा रहा है कि ना करूं? बताएं. यार अब ये तो ठीक है ना
আমাদের দক্ষিণ
Camera
এশিয়া
adjust करें।
আঞ্চলিক সহযোগিতার যে প্ল্যাটফর্মটা আছে ওটাতে আফগানরা তো ঢুকেছে কিন্তু বড় দুইটা দেশ তো একটা দেশ তো দুষ্টামি করে আরেকটা দেশ তো আমরা ঢুকাইনি না ও কি অবজারভার না বড়টা দুইটা বড় আছে একটা তো দক্ষিণ এশিয়ায় পড়ে একটা দক্ষিণ এশিয়ার বাইরে নাগবোচারা কি অবজার্ভার
यार।
হয়েছে না
क्यों कहेंगे तो स्टार्ट मैडम वी आर स्टार्टिंग institutions framework and the world war, the world seems to be unraveling politically, economically, militarily, if I would say, and it's being fragmented. Up till now, global West would portray itself as the locomotive, and the world was in tango, in harmony. Now it seems that most of the development is taking place in South. 64% of the GDP belongs to South. Population, China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, I mean it's more than half of the power, or 2/3 of the population. So future lies in South. Now at the same time, is it a coincidence or that was divine that another big event is unraveling, and that is climate, which was stable since the last ice age about 14,000 years ago. So it's a brand new phenomena. 80 years of unaccounted industrialization, fossil fuel, or I would say irresponsibility has brought it to this extent. Now the global framework is not working like this. So what are the possibilities? The possibility is what we say it as local cooperation, regional cooperation, or South-South cooperation. We are sitting at the place where geography is unique, where more than 20% of the fresh water is in the area, and from Himalayas to the delta of the Bay of Bengal, all sort of geography and topography, all races, everything. This is a cosmos. So how we can solve a problem among ourselves and give a vision to the rest of the world, or at least a vision that is implementally locally. We have today with us a very eminent person with us who is in her personal self, she's a scholar, she's a lawyer. In her own country, she has been taken the environmental litigation and earned a name there, belonged to the association, and now she is an advisor to the government of Bangladesh on environment and forest and climate change. Syeda Rizwana, very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving this precious time for us. I think the topic is also important, but I thank you again. We'll rumble from here.
Oh, it's not a very simple issue to comment on. I think the complexities around the problems are deepening. At the global level, we have been trying to address some of the issues, say for example climate change. But after so many years of negotiation, we have come out with more and more jargons and more processes.
Right.
I very much value the global process, and I also respect the global decision-making process. But to me, it appears that the global decision-making process is overly process-oriented,
Right.
and not really outcome-oriented, which is becoming a problem for countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, and other countries in South Asia faced with extreme climatic threats. Politically also, we can see that in our part of the world, in this region, there are political uprising. Common people are demonstrating on the streets, and their demonstrations are leading to fall of regimes.
Right.
Very deep-rooted, well-settled regimes. Why is that happening? That's happening because our politics hasn't really been delivering to the expectation of the common people. One phenomenon that is quite interesting is the rise of the new generation, the Gen Z as we call them. They are trying to take a space in the entire discourse, and they are pressing hard for their demands to be fulfilled, their voices to be heard. Starting from Sri Lanka to Bangladesh and then to Nepal, we have seen this happening, which means that there is still a disjuncture between people in power and this new generation. So globally, sometimes as we get frustrated with the global processes, regionally also, locally also, we haven't really designed our democratic institutions in a way which will be empowering for the common people. That is a crisis, but in every crisis there are turning points, and it solely depends on societies as to how they deal with their crisis. In Europe, they have dealt with crisis, and Europe as a region is much more integrated. When we say SARC, I have come to Bangladesh and there is no direct flight.
Yeah.
And I had to come via Bangkok, others had to come via other countries. So we can see that while the Europeans have really learned from the war, we in South Asia are yet to learn, yet to convert the frustrations into positivity, and yet to trust one another. I think in the South Asian discourse, trust is something that is totally missing, and the whole attitude is this superpower, big brother attitude.
Yeah.
What we need is friendly attitude, where our people will be able to come together and decide the future of this region together. No country in this SARC will do better if the other countries do not progress in the same pace. No country will be safe and secured if there is unrest in one of these countries. We have the sooner we realize this fact that our common benefit actually is rooted in trust and confidence building, the sooner we realize that, the better for all of us.
Just rumbling on SARC, isn't it or was it a wonderful arrangement?
I think it was a very good arrangement. If you see the regions that have managed to come together, ASEAN, the Africans, the Europeans, they have actually activated their regional platform. On the other hand, we have weakened the regional platform.
Yeah.
And that's not doing any good. The increased political unrest that we are seeing in the region, the language of intimidation that we use, is happening only because we don't have a platform where all of us can sit and have a constructive dialogue. We have for ages been talking about people-to-people contact. We have got very good friends everywhere in almost all countries of the region. But our politics and is built on suspicion. And for some forces, hostility is the core of their politics. Till that changes, fully operationalizing a platform like SARC would be difficult. If one is not cooperative, I think it's time that others come together.
Yeah.
And create a force that will help us start talking to forces that are hostile and that are negative.
But there are a lot of common history and common fabric in the interwoven fabric of time and history. For example, when I was in school and colleges, one of my Bengali friend would narrate to me the verses of Rabindranath Tagore, and he would say about the sweeper that he is the one who gave me pakizgi, cleanliness. He's the one who gave me the not elite or something. He's the one about the low caste and kind. Then all the singing and songs were so many, Runa Lela and other were here. And across the eastern border in India, fairs and all that, they would have the, mushairas and they would go. And even in the revolutions, Bangladesh, all the fairs were, I've heard that they would be reading fairs and all that. So common, and now you are here, you are just like another sister who is coming here. I don't find it that I'm not familiar with you. So why can't we build upon this treasure and then rumble on? If somebody, because of the global elite, and can we find a solution on that?
It's not impossible to find a solution. And in this conference also, you have got representation from almost all the SARC countries. While culture and history are certainly connecting points, we have a common root not to be forgotten.
Yeah, common root.
And it's not only the British who ruled all the three countries together, the Indo-Pak subcontinent as we call it, but it is also because of the common root that allowed the British to come and instantly, set its control over these three countries.
North India.
Yeah. The thing is, what kind of relationship do we really want? Is it brother and sister? Because I think in a relationship between brother and sister, there is love, but there is also competition as to how much you inherit from your father, whether there is equal distribution. I would rather say that if we look at each other, one another as friends, that is where the change will come from. And we have to create a narrative that will not spread hatred. People of one country in SARC do not necessarily hate the other country. It is our narrow focused politics that spreads hatred. We have to really move away from that, and for that this communication is important. That you are talking to me, I am talking to you, I am talking to my friends in Bhutan, I am talking to my friends in Sri Lanka, I am talking to my friends in India, and they also are talking to me. While we are more or less in order and not in disorder, unfortunately our political system hasn't really matured enough to convert that disorder into order. So people's power, people's unity, I think we have done good in those front, but how do we take it to the level of politics and force our politics to change and not, develop a narrative based on hatred is the tough task ahead of us.
Pakistan is a lower riparian from the Indus water system. Bangladesh is a lower riparian from Brahmaputra. And both these water systems fall down from the water tower which is Tibet and all that. And now, you know, the water has been weaponized in, at least in Indus. Do you think that, and water is the biggest manifestation of climate change as well. We have seen the mega floods and all that. So do you think on that account we should raise our voice now for the lower riparians, or we'll be in, or we'll have to resort to the, I mean, unpeaceful mechanism?
No, of course, not moving towards the direction of peace is not something very prudent. Whether you speak from a local, national or regional perspective. Imagine if we were together and could do the negotiation in the climate change conference of parties as a region where our position would be. We have not managed to do that. On the water issue, Bangladesh is the lower riparian country, the lowermost riparian country. So all the waters actually end up to the Bay of Bengal through Bangladesh. And that's why it's called the creation of rivers. We share rivers with India, we share rivers with China, we share rivers with Nepal. Recently, Bangladesh has signed the UN Water Convention because Bangladesh is really hopeful that as a lower riparian country, it will be able to raise its voice there before an international community. And in our pursuit to demand water justice, other international experiences, practices will help us a lot. I really hope that other South Asian countries that are lower riparian would also consider positively joining this platform, because this will help the lower riparian countries to come together, develop a common narrative for us to use in our conversation with the upper riparian ones. It's very, very important, because if water is depleted due to climate change, we as a region, whether we are upper riparian country or lower riparian country, we have to come together as a region and think of a common solution. When water will dry up in the Himalayas, your huge embankments or diversion routes will not help you. So how as a region we can assist, cooperate and complement each other is something we have to really work on. If you see the UNFCCC report, they are saying that in South Asia, India will soon become a water scarce country. Bangladesh will have to deal with salinity problem. Pakistan will have to deal with drought. So in a complex scenario like this, we must as a region, having shared resources, come together and think about how to utilize that shared resource for the benefit of our communities, for the benefit of populace.
Can we use SARC for food security? Because water is, at least in Pakistan's case, it's closely knit with water.
Before I get into this, let me share one thing with you. We have always tried to negotiate over shared water resources through multilateralism. But there is this tendency in the upper riparian countries not to allow multilateralism in anything that they consider would go against their narrow interests. So they always insist that we keep water as a bilateral issue and not a multilateral issue, which I think is fundamentally flawed and wrong. On food security issue, there are many good practices that are happening in Bangladesh. There are some good practices that are happening in Pakistan, in other SARC countries. If SARC is not fully functional, I don't see any bar in making it or keeping it partially functional. Those who agree, agree. Those who don't agree, don't agree. We will give them time for them to build their arguments and for them to agree on common paths that other countries may take together. For example, Bangladesh is working with Nepal and Bhutan because Bangladesh, Nepal and Bhutan are set to graduate to middle income countries probably around the same timeline. So we are trying to sit and communicate to find out as to how these three countries will cope with the changed global economic order when they graduate to middle income countries. Food security is something on which the SAARC countries must work together. If some countries
Around
take
2
time,
billion people.
absolutely. If and there are so many positive innovations.
Yeah.
So if some countries want to take more time, we would allow them time. But others, I don't see any bar in others to come together and take the agenda forward.
I'm putting a direct question. Do you think are you saying that we should make SAARC functional without the big brother, without India, if it has to be?
I don't believe in this relationship of brothers and sisters because, as I say, there's always interest in it. I would rather look at all my neighbors as my friends. So if, it's, say for example, on one given issue, Pakistan may have some resentment. On another issue, Bangladesh may have some resentment. So while Bangladesh and Pakistan can take their time, why should others be waiting if they know they have a solution in hand, or if they know that they have a brighter, way of solving their problems? So I'm not saying exclude some partners. I'm saying allow countries the time that they need. But if we believe that it is something that will be beneficial for us, the absence of one country or the other should not be taken as an obstruction on the way of others to combine their actions.
At one point, Afghanistan was stapled with this series in SAARC. Afghanistan was stapled. And it can be, Afghanistan shared common history at some point in time. Do you think in some way, or observer status or full member status or whatever the graduation stairs, the climbing stairs are passing through or may not be passing through, do you think we should include China as well?
I think China is probably having this, they probably are comfortable with this observer status. I was just referring to the UN convention that Bangladesh has acceded to. That UN convention was originally planned for the European countries. But the other UN convention, which was meant for the entire globe, was not seeing much success. So at that stage, this European convention was made open to all countries of the world. So if this UN convention, which was originally planned for the European countries only, can be opened for other countries to join and make this UN Water Convention a vibrant one, we can always think of being inclusive, but that I believe will need regional consensus.
Regional time. Right, thank you very much. Last thing, how can we open up, the floodgates for the population of all these countries to visit each other? I mean, it doesn't need that big money on projects, the project mentality and all that. Big monies, millions of dollars and billions and all that. That doesn't need much money, the small one.
Once again, it is trust that can take you there. At the moment, what we have is
trust will come when they'll see.
The people do have trust in one another. The communities trust one another. The problem is how we are being ruled. The problem lies probably in the pattern of ruling, in the justification of ruling. So I think the people and the communities will have to work together to nullify those wrong premises, those erroneous premises.
Yeah, rise of South will liberate us, because up till now we were under the Bretton Woods, and the global elite which had captured had their representative in all the countries, who in their turn would capture their own country. Do you think this rise of South can liberate us?
Liberation is too strong a word.
Give some freedom.
Give better freedom, you can say. I think the global economic order unfortunately is moving more towards bilateralism than multilateralism. So I would emphasize on multilateralism. I would emphasize on getting rid of arbitrary tariffs that are being imposed. If the South can come together and raise their voice, nothing like that. The question is not how bad they. The question is not how bad they are, how repressive they are. The question is how strong we are.
Okay.
The question is what are we doing to add strength to our common platform.
Right. And with this, we have come to the end of this very wonderful, I would say, interview or interaction, which has given a lot of thought for further interaction. And we'll be bringing, the bottom line is that the global order, like climate, is falling down for one reason: it's not sustainable. So if it's not sustainable, what is the future? The future is, I would say, regional futures. Regions should cooperate at least, multilateralism at the region level, and that's very good that now we see that a advisor, a minister from a very close by had to hop from the third destination, but she come here and she's right now talking to all of us, to all the South Asians at least, to the SAARC countries live, and the recording would be there as well. So I think that's a high time. That is the beginning of a new era, and we should capture it and come to terms to achieve maximum from all of this. With this, we come to the end of the program.